So we can eat lecithin in egg yolks, not the whites, egg yolks, which is the only cholesterol food, by the way, egg yolks, that have the lecithin to balance the cholesterol for the gallbladder. Hello, my name is Dr. Mona Morstein. If you're new to my channel, please click on the subscription below. Otherwise, I'm going to dive in today to gallbladder part 2. If you missed gallbladder part 1, check it out. It talks about the gallbladder, what it's about, what it does, why we need one, how we analyze it, and so forth. Today, I'm going to talk about how we keep it in our bodies, okay? We're going to talk about now how to prevent gallbladders from getting bad, and 2, how to save it once it develops problems, right? The way we prevent the gallbladder from having problems is first knowing a little bit about bile, right? So bile is made up of a ratio, and on the top is cholesterol, and underneath is bile salts and the phospholipids, which we could also say lecithin, right? So cholesterol over bile and lecithin. Now, if a person just eats too much cholesterol too often, too frequently, beef, pork, lamb, poultry, cheese, eggs, shellfish, deep fat fried food, junk food, fast food, all of this, also sugary foods, because that increases cholesterol, right? So you're going to wind up with too much cholesterol in the bile that could just saturate out what we call a little nidus, which is the beginning of a stone, and then over time grow into a bigger stone. Now, that stone can block the entrance of the gallbladder, which is going to cause significant pain, and that may not stop until it just falls back into the gallbladder. It could also be enough irritation that it sets up really a kind of just inflammatory reaction. Biliary colic is kind of when it gets stuck in the opening, and cholecystitis is when the gallbladder gets inflamed. Now, choledocho lithiasis is when the gallstone gets stuck in a duct, but that doesn't happen very often. What happens much more commonly is the colic or the cholecystitis, right? So one thing is eating less cholesterol, right? Maybe we can have food more plant-based, more nuts, more seeds, more beans, peas, legumes, organic soy, fish, just balancing out the meat fest of America, or the poultry fest of America, into some other foods that aren't really high in a problematic cholesterol. Another thing is saying, well, if we're having this cholesterol and we want it to stay in fluid, why don't we add lecithin? Lecithin is one thing, it stays in, unless, and if we have more lecithin, I guess we can have more cholesterol. So we can eat lecithin in egg yolks, not the whites, egg yolks, which is the only cholesterol food, by the way, egg yolks, that have the lecithin to balance the cholesterol for the gallbladder. No other cholesterol source really has that kind of lecithin in it. But also soybeans and sunflower seeds and peanuts and whole grains, Brussels sprouts, these all have lecithin in them, right? We can also, of course, take lecithin in liquids and capsules. And of course, we could also take some bile. We can add in some bile as well to help keep the cholesterol in the liquid part. So we've got eating less cholesterol, eating more lecithin. Maybe adding in lecithin, particularly if gallbladder is in your family history. Grandma had her gallbladder taken out. Mom had her gallbladder taken out. And although surgery remembrance of gallbladder removal is fair, fat, female, 40, and also really fertile, men have it taken out as well. Obviously, having it in the family history is a risk factor, but also losing weight, because when we lose weight, all of the fat cells will open up and release their fat, and it goes to the liver, and it is going to release a lot of cholesterol. So it's very common that people losing weight can get a gallstone and need surgery. So you're going to lose weight. especially if there is gallbladder problems in your family, add in lecithin, like a tablespoon of the liquid a day, which is a lot stronger than the capsules. So if you're going to take bile, like 100 to 200 at meals. Don't take 500, don't take 1,000. You're going to very likely upset your gut. We generally don't need that much at meals, okay? If you've had a diagnosis of gallstones, or you've had a biliary colic, which lasts for several hours, or the cholecystitis, which can last for days, then, you're thinking, how do I, I don't want this pain, but I'd like to keep my gallbladder, right? So you come to me. We're going to do, of course, a diet diary. We're going to look at your diet and we got to tidy it up. Obviously, want to watch really fatty foods. And the worst foods, pork is really bad, eggs are really bad. A lot of times I'll do a food sensitivity test and see, is there a food that just doesn't work in your system? And also then we have many things. Glutathione, believe it or not, helps bile go through ducts. So we could add some NAC that becomes glutathione, or some liposomal glutathione. Of course, there's great botanicals. Botanicals are either colorectics, which increase bile production in the liver, or cholagogues, which help the gallbladder secrete it out. So things like milk thistle and dandelion root, turmeric, chelidonium, gentian, berberine, artichoke, fumaria. These are really good herbs. Now, one herb in particular, which is called Piamus baldo, or we can just say baldo, is like a specific herb for the gallbladder. It's definitely an amazing herb that you can get as capsules for kind of anything that's wrong with the gallbladder. We also do homeopathy. So chelidonium, lycopodium, china, those are the main remedies for the pain, which can really settle it down and keep people from thinking, I better get to the hospital, I better get this taken out, right? We do castor oil packs. So castor oil packs where you put organic castor oil on flannel or cotton, put it over this upper right quadrant area, cover it with some saran wrap, a heating pad, a belt to keep it tight, maybe a blanket, and then turn the heating pad on, leave it on for about 45 minutes. So anti-inflammatory for things acting up in the whole digestive, reproductive area. Now, specifically, how do we shrink stones? Well, apple pectin has been shown in studies to shrink stones. So do rowacol, Rowachol, and peppermint have these terpenes in them that increase bile secretion and relieve spasms of the duct. So those are really good things. Chanca which is stone breaker, a little more studied with the kidney, but we use it all the time with the gallstones as well. Purine and the glycine are the amino acids that make bile into bile salts and easy to use. There is also the gallbladder flush. Should you do a gallbladder flush if it's acting up? I don't think it's a good idea. I had a student when I used to teach who said when he did it, it took care of his pain. That's great. But generally, I like to do these in between pain episodes, right? You eat lightly for a couple of days, not heavy meals, just light meals, fiber. Then the day of it, you eat until about 2 p.m. And if you haven't had a bowel movement, we try to get you to maybe have an enema, clean out the colon. And then we don't eat or drink for about 5 hours. Around 7 p.m., you start drinking a quarter cup of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And ideally, you're supposed to go through 8 ounces of the olive oil. But if you're just getting, you better stop before, if it gets a little cloying. Just do as much as you can of that bottle. You lay on your right side, massage. Generally, you're going to have a bowel movement. Green looking things are going to come out. They're not gallstones. They are not gallstones. Those are just oil, calcium salts That's it. We sent them away. We've analyzed them, not gallstones, but they come out. And there you go. And this is a great flush to any way you do for everybody. It's like taking a fire hose to your gallbladder and just washing it out. Now, if you have a gallstone, is it safe? Yeah, it's still safe to do this. You want to take something like diascorea, cramp bark, if you're going to pass them, have them go through your ducts. But I've never in 37 years had a person wind up going to the hospital because they were doing a gallbladder flush and got a stone stuck in a duct. Now, I will say with the cholagogues and colorectics, don't take those in a tincture if you're in an acute state. Not a good idea. That's not recommended, but everything else is okay, right? Now, of course, we calm the acute state down, generally with the homeopathy, and then we do all of this, and over 3 months or so, we're going to start shrinking those gallstones and start getting you under control. Now, over time, people can add in chicken, they can add in turkey, they might be able to add in some red meat and things like this, generally not pork. If your food sensitivity comes back positive for eggs, we have to watch that, but we won't know until we get the test back. And of course, very, very fried foods may not work. But in general, people can eat a pretty normal diet. If you've had a gallbladder problem, before they just take it out, there are docs like me that can save your gallbladder. If you've had it removed, you may or may not need bile with each of your meals. We have to analyze each person individually. And so we can just check things out with you, see what's going on, and then we can know if you need replacement or not. Summary: a well-functioning gallbladder is a boon to the body, to digestion, to the gut, to healing, to your cholesterol, to your blood sugar, to inflammation, to everything. So it's really a good idea to keep your gallbladder. That's it for now. I'm Dr. Mona Morstein. I'm your gallbladder guru. Please comment below. I hope you sign up, and I'll see you for my next video.